Hey, everybody. Welcome to Hanging with Hank. I'm here again, and I'm looking forward to a conversation I'm going to have with Germaine Goodson. Hey, Germaine.
How you doing, Hank?
How you doing? How you doing? Germaine is dancer, teacher, choreographer, performer. We'll find out more. I'll find out more about her. Just how you been?
I'm doing really wonderful. I'm just trying to
Yeah,
stay safe and happy.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I mean, that's kind of the challenge now, just to kind of keep it together. My whole thing has been I take in the information I need to know. Then there's other stuff I just need to chill out. I need to
Mhm.
do things just to feel good inside and whatever.
Mhm.
So anyway, so the thing is, often when I do these interviews, I always try to remember how did I first meet the person I'm talking to, and I'm trying to think of my earliest awareness of you, and I don't know if it has to do with the Rhythm Queens or whatever, but going back to because I did see Black and Blue, and we will talk about that.
Yeah.
But and the main thing is like we were just saying before we started recording,
Mhm.
my memory of you is just seeing your smiling face at events, and we always go, "Hey,
Yeah.
how you doing?" And
Hey.
then going about your business. Meanwhile, we follow each other from afar, but it's kind of but I always feel that you're there to check out stuff, that you are
Oh,
supporting stuff,
I'm
you
very
know?
supportive. Very supportive.
Yeah, yeah.
Everybody.
So it, it began, if I'm correct, you started out in Philly?
That's where I was born. I
Okay,
was
so
born
how
in
did
Florida.
yeah.
And I that's where my beginning of taking ballet and ballet and acrobatics all in one class. I was a
Mm,
3 years old, and I really had poor eyesight. So my godmother decided to put me in a class that I could just really, if I wasn't going to bump into anything, I really needed glasses, but that time.
mhm,
She thought that it would be really good for me to take ballet classes and
mm.
just to, because I was really shy as a kid. I didn't really say much, but I'm one of five and I'm number four. So
Wow.
by the time they got to me, it wasn't much to be said. Everybody already, started talking and decided what they wanted to be when they grew up. But I really didn't talk that much. I listened a lot, as I do now. But
Mhm,
my godmother, because I came from a poor family, my mother raised all five of us by herself. But
mhm,
my godmother was a prime contributor to my success in my career today. She put me in everything. She bought me a violin. She put me in piano classes. She gave me drama classes, swimming classes, everything my mother couldn't do, my godmother
mm.
did. So dance was the first thing that she offered me, and I really liked it, but I didn't, like talk about it all the time. I just went all the time. I was always there right after school, and I liked what I was doing, but I just was really shy. So that stayed with me a long time. So I started playing violin, and I liked that a lot too. And I'm so different from all my brothers and sisters because
Yeah.
nobody's musical in my family but me.
Really?
Yeah, no,
Wow.
they still laugh. They think when I was doing Broadway, they're like, "You're still doing recitals," and I'm thinking, "No, no, no, that's a recite. That's not a recital. Like the highest job you can get, in a performing arts category. So I was really proud that I even made it that far. So, I've been
Wow.
dancing for a very 60. I would say about 65 years. So
Wow.
that's almost my whole life. So
So when you were young, what other influences were around you? I mean, was there music that you liked to hear, or in terms of
it was
stuff that you saw, whether on
yeah.
TV or live? How did that impact you?
Well, I loved Hollywood at the Palace, Caesar's Palace. I loved musicals. I loved specials. I love
Hmm.
Lawrence Welk because my godmother was like 60 years older than me, and everything she did, I liked too. So I
Mm.
would watch Johnny Carson at night, with all the old with her husband and her. We watched all the old musicals, all the old everything, but everything
Hmm.
that had dancing and singing in it. So I really, was drawn to that. I just really
Mm.
loved it a lot. And music too. I love orchestras. I loved big bands. I really like to be around music and musicals. So, the Wizard of Oz was around. It was the
Yeah.
Sound of Music, everything that had to do with singing, dancing, and just having fun. I loved it.
And it's interesting because I also tell people there was this period of time that's different now than there was so many variety shows on TV that you could, and because there were still people around who had been popular in the 30s and 40s, so you got to see Louis Armstrong or whatever. There's so much stuff to see to begin to appreciate so many different art forms, you know.
And
On
also in Philly, my aunt has a dancing school, it's Philadelphia School of Dance Arts, but she also has a company that's Philadanco, and
hmm
so many stars were coming through there, but I didn't know who they were. I mean, it was like, Sammy Davis Jr., I knew who he was by just watching him on TV, and
hmm
also, Pearl Bailey, and, let's see, there are a lot of people that used to just come and support whatever she was giving. Like, if she gave a recital, they would come, but I didn't pay that much attention to them. But my mother always told me that she's like, Calloway is gonna be here." And I was like, I really didn't know who he was, but then my brothers used to say, "Heidi, Heidi, Heidi." Oh, they would be teasing me, but, I heard of their names before I could really appreciate who they were, and the Nicholas brothers too. They were so many great people came from Philadelphia, so I'm
Yeah.
grateful that Billie Holiday, that I was born there too, just like I didn't realize they were there when I was going to school because we were just focused on school and dancing school. So, I didn't really see them till I was maybe a teenager or, I think I was like 12 or 13 when I actually saw Sammy Davis. And I really didn't, like go all Google. I was just like, he can do everything. But in my mind, I was keeping that to myself. I was like, he can
hmm
tap, he can sing, he can do everything. So I was proud of him.
Wow. Yeah, Philly, so many people came out of that dance wise, and
Yeah.
um,
And
there's
Lola
lots of
Flash.
yeah, Lola, Honey Coles, I think, came
Yeah.
out there, and I'm also interviewing another Jermaine Ingram,
Yeah, she's
who's
still there.
still there and doing some stuff. So
Yeah.
little did I mean, did you ever think when you became older that when you're meeting Cab Calloway, what the young you would think of that? Did you ever have
Well,
to
it
think
was
like who would have thunk when I
no,
was 10 that like,
no. I didn't realize that until I was older, and then my mom came to see our performance when we were performing at, Trump Plaza, the Rhythm Queens. Deborah and I performed at,
mhm.
Trump Plaza with Cab Calloway, and, she met him. She was like, "I paid a quarter to see you, Cab." And he was like, "Oh, that was a long time ago." He was so, and usually, like, he doesn't like a lot of visitors backstage and stuff, but he let me
Mhm.
bring my mom back, and she was so excited to meet him.
Wow.
So, it was just like the circle reversed itself.
Yeah, and we'll get into the later years too. So Philadelphia, just talk a little bit about
Yeah, Philadenko
that's
is,
an important entity, right?
yes, and I was actually one of the original members. It
And just explain
started,
what that is, what
yeah,
what the company
it's
was.
a modern dance company as, Albanelli is, but the training is so, intense that when you come out of Philadelphia or Philadelphia School of Arts, because it's 2 schools that train you to do everything. I mean,
Mhm.
I love tap dancing, but I was trained in every form of dance. And my aunt decided to really make a company that would, allow all colors, not just blacks, but just all colors to really just like, have a home in dance and also be a
Mhm.
performing artist in dance. So, the training is very strict, and they're one of it's like 60 years. It's actually 53 years old right now. Just as far as, they've been established and successful. They travel the world. They're most of their dancers get jobs at Alvin Ailey because they have more money and they just
Mhm.
seem to like do work for Philadelphia and then just come to New York and just, transfer in. And they have no trouble, making auditions because they're great dancers. But for me, I enjoyed the time that I was there, but it was so close to when I was going to college, so I didn't really stay that long.
Mhm.
But I always support them for the last 50 years. I've been supporting them and just going to their concerts and, just wishing them well because it's been hard getting money to support them as well to let the schools stay open and for
Yeah.
costumes and all the things that go along with just having a business. It was just quite difficult. But I just know that my aunt really showed me that if you want something, you have to work really hard. So
Mhm. Mhm.
that's what I've been doing.
And that's probably instilled in you as a teacher now, right?
Yeah, oh, I love my students.
And just as an artist, that
Mhm.
foundation, right?
Yeah, and I also tried to, have a dancing school of my own in California when I was in graduate school,
Mhm.
and I just rented a daycare center on the weekends, and I
Oh,
taught
really?
everything. I taught
Wow.
jazz and tap and ballet and gymnastics. I taught all of it by myself and took care of the finances myself, and I just really wanted to have an extension of, what my aunt was doing, but it's a 24/7 job, so I decided
Yeah.
that's not what I wanna do. It's what I some of what I wanna do as far as teaching, but I was already teaching at all the, junior colleges in California because I had my bachelor's at the time, so I can
Mhm.
teach for the junior colleges, but I also wanted to help students like me that didn't have a lot of, like, opportunities to perform right away,
Yeah, yeah.
just give them good technique, so I love teaching, I love choreographing, I love performing, I love being a part of the theater community, the tap community. I just
Mm.
think that we have to support each other, and I feel like sometimes the tap community is more rhythmic than, Broadway style, but, every now and then we come together and they appreciate us and I appreciate them. I just think that, like Gregory was saying, that we should all be together instead of just separated.
Yeah, and it's so, we've been around long enough to see the different rise and falls and these different
Yeah,
eras and the different people and now it's so broad, so many people, we've got stamps now
yeah, right.
and people just these different generations and it knocks me out, maybe you too, is now, the folks we remember as youngsters,
They were getting
they're movers and shakers, and they're
yeah,
considered mentors to other people, you
yeah,
know?
yeah.
It's really interesting seeing that, and the breadth of the form, is really fascinating to me. When you went to college, so you were going to college to study what?
Child
What was
psychology and
Mhm,
also sociology. I wanted to be a child psychologist because I
mhm,
children, they need to, like, find their own voice. I believe
yeah,
that when I was, because I'm one of 5, we didn't have a lot like today's voice for the kids. Their parents let them figure things out. We weren't allowed to figure things out. We had to just be told what we're
you were
supposed.
told what to do, huh?
Yeah, see, so I didn't have that freedom because I look at my godson now, he's 8 years old, and his parents,
Mhm,
said that he can figure it out, he'll do. I was like, I never had a voice like that. I mean, I had to just whatever they told me, I did. I was a pretty good kid. I
mhm,
didn't get in fights or anything. I just really, just listened to what people told me to do, so
mm.
but nowadays, people, they give their own advice. They say no when they don't wanna do stuff. I say no now because I've been doing stuff for my whole life. But, I only wanna do what I wanna do. So if I say yes, I'm so there for you. If I
Mhm,
say
mhm.
no and then regret it, I'm not that person. I
Yeah,
just
yeah, you're clear in what you're doing,
clear, clear.
one way or another.
Yeah.
So if I get it straight, you in Philly and then went to California, or was it
Yes.
what was it?
Philadelphia,
Go ahead,
and
yeah.
then that was, like, from high school to undergraduate school was in Pennsylvania. So I did
Okay.
4 years on campus. I pledged to sorority, Alpha Kappa Alpha sorority,
Oh,
and,
wow.
yeah, I did that because my older sister also was an Alpha AKA. And then I
Mm,
went to grad
AKA.
yes, I'm an AKA, and then I went to, California for graduate school, but because I stayed on campus 4 years and I was in school my whole life, I wanted to take 2 years off to just see what I really wanted to do, and then
Mm,
I wanted to go to graduate school for child psychology, but when I was applying and I got accepted to Cal State Fullerton University, they I just knew that my journey was going to be long, and even after I finished, I would still have more work to do. So I immediately started taking classes at the undergrad, I mean, like at junior colleges, which were free in California if you lived there.
mhm.
So I started taking classes, and my teachers would say, "You're so much better than me. You should be teaching." So I was like, I'm just taking classes for fun. I'm just here. And before I start school again, I just want to just, have fun and work. I was working as a word processor for an engineering firm. So I just really wanted to change lives from being underneath my godmother and my mother and everybody was
Mm,
telling me what to do. I just really wanted to find my own self. So That's when I started taking classes, and that's when I actually started doing commercials and, films,
Mm,
I just I really did go more into theater then, instead
mhm.
of just like and that helped me to just decide that's where I really should be, not in child psychology. So,
So it started to feel like the proper fit
yes,
at that point. Yet
and that
I assume your interest in child psychology or whatever still
yes.
comes
I mean,
into
I use it
play.
for the adults, you know what I mean? I think that child psychology is just a way of understanding people, it
Yeah,
doesn't have to be
yeah,
child psychology, but it could be, just everyone because once you understand, and even if you don't know that much, in my heart, I can feel who they are,
yeah.
just like there are so many good souls, but, sometimes they have people have trouble expressing themselves, so that's what my
And so
concern.
much of this stuff is formed in childhood. You
Yes.
know, I
Good
mean, it's
stuff.
I guess, like, at least for me, the older I get, the more I think about the foundation of
Yeah,
childhood and that the
it's so
little person
important.
in you. I mean, it's really
Yeah,
such a crucial time.
it's so special.
Yeah.
Things happened during that time that could have been prevented and
Mhm.
also could have been expanded on. Like if my godmother didn't give me my glasses or let me get my eyes checked, I probably wouldn't be able to see. I just know that
Mm,
that was really important for me. And probably that's why I was so quiet too. She took
mm.
me and she, made sure that I had my glasses and my brothers and sister would tease me. They're like, here comes Frankenstein because, my glasses were like,
Wow, wow. Oh,
but I was like,
wow,
okay, that's fine.
wow.
That's but
Yeah.
I think that she saw the interest because my mother was working so much. She didn't
Mm,
realize that I
mm.
would see. So that helped me.
So when you were kind of finding this and in California, like,
Mhm.
what era was this? In other words, what was happening
Well, that was
culturally, or the dynamics, because 60s, 70s, things were going on around.
yeah.
So, what was
Well,
the context of yeah.
I think I moved to California in 75.
Okay.
So,
So the
um,
war ended around
yes.
yeah.
So, but it was like, because I was trying to do so many things, I wasn't aware of how much hatred there was in the world. I think that one thing
Mm,
my mother did, she didn't let us see hatred. You know what I mean? I went to Jewish
mhm,
camp. She made sure, like, because my grandmother used to teach. I mean, she used to clean houses for Jewish people, and
mhm,
they gave all of us scholarships to come to Jewish camp during the summer for 3 weeks. So like
mm,
1 year would be one year would be me, 1 year would be my sister, 1 year would be my older sister and my
mm,
brothers because there's a 5 year gap between my sisters and my oldest brothers. Then it's me and
mm,
my younger sister. So
mm,
I went to camp and I didn't feel any, like hatred or anything. And,
uh-huh.
and then, later I saw on the news and that they were, just being mean to people. That was like it was an eye opener because my mother only showed us the good stuff. She
Mm,
was really liked by everybody. So
mhm,
I thought everybody was like that.
mm. So, how do you wind up in New York?
Oh,
Or is there something between California and New York before New York happens?
well, my dad still lived here in New York, but he told me that, actually, I told him I wanted to come and do Broadway, and he was like, "Well, New York is bad, and I don't think you should come." And, he was the story.
Oh. Mm,
Yeah, and then he said that, "You can't stay here because my wife doesn't want you to stay here." He was already married again. But I said, "I didn't ask you if I could stay with you. I just said I was coming because I really
mm,
want to be there." With my career, that's the last thing that I didn't do because I was doing really well at doing commercials, like being an
mhm,
extra or, films. I was tap dancing in the Gangster Chronicles and, just doing really good at I was in Screen Actors Guild as my parent union. So I did a film first, then I did AFTRA for all the commercials that I was
mhm.
doing at the time. And then I really, really wanted to do Broadway. But I think when you're not really ready and you don't know you're not ready, you don't get your opportunities. But when it's
Ah.
time for you to really, know that it's time for you to make that move, I chose a date and my roommate said that he was going to come with me. He's like, I'm coming too because I'm an actor. I was like, okay, if you come or not, I'm still going. 'Cause I really wanna audition and,
Uh-huh.
get a Broadway show because that's the only thing I really didn't have at that time, so I came and my journey as I got here was a lot easier than it would have been if I had come when I just said I really want to do Broadway. It was a perfect timing because when I first got here, I got a Maurice and Mercedes Ballet Tap USA company. So I
Oh, I
was there.
remember that. Wow.
Yeah, we traveled the
Wow.
world. We did everything with that company.
Wow.
Yeah, that was my first inspiration of just being thought of that this is the place I need to be.
So you
So
just auditioned and got in that? I mean,
yeah,
you saw
Maurice,
you saw a thing about it? Okay.
right away they just said,
Wow.
I want her to be in. So I was in, and they took me to Europe, and we did so many wonderful things. And we also did a show in Philadelphia where I used to do recitals. So I was feeling like I'm coming home with a job. I was so excited. I was like, oh, Maurice
Wow.
was, and Maurice and Gregory was in the show at that time too. So
Wow.
it was
That
like
both
both
the
of
Hines brothers. Wow.
yeah, they were working, and that opened a door for me to meet Henry Latang because I didn't know who he was.
Oh.
But I saw all his work. I would come home
Mhm.
every Christmas and go see Sophisticated Ladies, or I love Yubi when I was doing all my auditions. I would do audition songs from Yubi, and I just really finally I said I'm gonna audition for Henry Latang too because he was having auditions for Cotton Club on Parade. They had just Maurice and his brother and everybody that did Cotton Club had already just started working on that, so it was too late to be a part of that. It was too late
Mhm.
actually to be a part of the Tap Dance Kid, which I really wanted to do too. I was taking
Mm.
Daniel's classes, and he said, "I've cast everybody, but there'll be another time that you can probably get a chance to audition." So I wasn't a part of that, but then Henry gave an audition for one of the replacements for the Rhythm Queens, and I auditioned, and Rashmela, who was also the a rhythm queen before me, she told me that I should audition as a rhythm queen and I should, get in touch with Henry Latang, and I did. So he liked me right away. He was like, "You're a great feat. You're just like one of the kids." He told Deborah Mitchell that that they were going to tour the Cotton Club on Parade in Las Vegas. So he wanted me to come and meet Deborah and
Mhm.
see what she says. But at that meeting, it was a good meeting with Deborah, and also Henry Latang really liked my feed, so I was set to do that show in Las Vegas. So I did
So
the
this
Cotton
is
Club.
this is good information because when I was doing some research about you, I realized I didn't know the whole history about rhythm queens, right?
Yeah,
Rhythm because I remember when the Cotton Club movie was happening, I was one of 85 million people auditioning for that, right?
they
And I
probably
and I knew who Henry Latang was, and, but then I think at somewhere along the line later, I was aware of the Rhythm Queens thinking it's just you and Deborah, right? But
mm,
just in terms of the history of that,
mhm.
just explain. So it was Henry Latang's this is after the Cotton Club movie, before the tour that you're talking about. It was
Yes.
his idea to create Rhythm Queens? And just
No.
explain him
Okay.
and who
Okay.
the people were. Henry Latang, choreographer and whatever. Go ahead.
Yes. So I was still working for was in a company with Maurice and Mercedes at the
Okay.
time, but they had already cast who was going to be in the Cotton Club at that time. I mean, I
And
came
this
in
is around so this is like 83, 84,
80, I
somewhere
came
in
in
the
84,
80s.
but 84 is when they
80.
actually did it,
Okay.
right? So Deborah was also in Ballet Tap USA too, and I probably taken her place when she went to do the Cotton Club, the movie. But in the Cotton Club, the movie, Henry Latang choreographed for three women that were considered the Rhythm Queens.
All
So
right.
Deborah was one. There was another one. There are two other ones, Cavril Payne, and then Melissa. I'm not sure of Melissa's last name, but they were the
Oh,
original Rhythm
okay.
Queens. There's three of them. And then the two of them, they weren't really dancers. They were just, just people that auditioned and was lucky enough to get the job, I guess. But
Mm.
Deborah was one. And also when she did, they did the whole thing on the Rhythm Queens. And in the movie, they dropped the whole thing that they did, that the choreographic piece, they didn't use in the movie.
There's
So she
nothing
was,
in it, yeah.
there was nothing in there, but on the floor, there was plenty in there that, could have been used. But
Mm.
when Henry decided to take it to Las Vegas, he needed to put the Rhythm Queens back in because he was partial about, who they were. There were three great tap dancers,
Okay.
so that's when Rashamela was considered. She was in before me, and then she taught me the whole routine that I would be doing if I got cast in it. So at that time, that's when it became the three rhythm queens with Rashmela Kumbo, Deborah Mitchell, and myself. So it became three.
Ah,
And that's when
aha,
before, Black and Blue happened. That came
wow,
before Black and Blue. So then, with that, we did the whole tour of Las Vegas. We moved from the Aladdin
wow,
to the Dunes to hotels. We were there like a couple months, and really during that time, they were making other dates, but people were starting to see who we were. So we were part of, we only had a few numbers in the show, and people were starting to separate the show from the Rhythm Queen. So we got more offers, people saw us more, and then we were building up our own resumes to, do more work. And that's when the three of us
as just as the Rhythm Queens, the three
just
of you
as
just
the
as
Rhythm Queens, right? So when that show closed, then we were preparing to audition for Black and Blue, which was started in Paris. That was the next step for the Rhythm Queens.
the
So we
big
auditioned.
musical Black and Blue, for those of you who don't know, yeah. Go
Yeah,
ahead, yeah.
it was the first production of it. It started in Paris, and, in that show, we had our own number. We were really considered like a specialty act. So,
Mm,
the 3 of us, we rehearsed, we did everything together. We just became closer and closer as the 3
wow.
of us. And then when that show closed, we had to wait and audition again for 3 more years before it came to Broadway. So even if we did our time over there in Paris, we had to still audition again to do the Broadway
Mm,
show. So, we wanted to do the Broadway show, but, there were politics in that show, so in during that time, we auditioned, we all got, cast in it, and we did really well in it. We didn't have our number that we did in Paris, but, I was in all the numbers, so I didn't mind. I just said,
mm.
"Well, at least I'm still dancing and I'm in a great show," so I didn't mind. It didn't matter. And after that show, then Calloway, and after it opened, everyone's seen it. I mean, I was working still as I was doing these shows. I was still teaching at Albanelli. I was still teaching at Broadway Dance Center. I was still doing everything that I normally do and my 8 shows a week. So
Wow,
I
wow.
never stopped. I think I was doing like 18 shows because I did private classes at the same time. But I never stopped doing what I was doing. And I remember,
Yeah.
right when the show was going to open on Broadway, then Albanelli saw us. I had already been teaching at his school for a long time, and he was said, "Whatever you do, just keep dancing and keep taking care of yourself." So, I was always looked upon as someone that was really serious about my career and wanted to continue to just be my best at whatever.
Wow. This is interesting. Well, I also feel Black and Blue alone is like a mini series.
Yes, it is.
Everybody I talk to has been involved in that. But
Production.
it's like a saga. I Diane Walker talks about things. Like just yesterday was Tina Pratt's birthday. I was
Yeah,
talking to her, and I just hear these things. The saga of Black and Blue is like all of the. I mean, boy,
it was a big step. It was,
it was the whole thing in terms of getting to
and I
how it
just
began and where it got to, and the changes in cast and
yes, changing
uh,
in band. I did all 3 productions. So the one in
mm,
Paris I did the one on Broadway, and then I did the first European tour. So I'm the only one that, out of the ensemble too. There was 3 other dancers that did no, just there was only Kime and myself that did the production. Yeah.
can you see this?
Yeah, I have that one.
Now it's interesting.
And I have
We're,
the
we're,
color one too. So
we are recording
yeah.
on January 16th, 2022,
Yes,
and
that's
this.
that's
My
what
ticket in here says
January.
January 13th, 1989.
Yes. So it's like
This
it's
is
a whole
my pro.
yeah, they've updated that one too since that one.
Yeah, but and some of the images I have, I'll show you some stuff. We'll show some stuff from the show too. But yeah, yeah, wow, that's so all that is happening. Um, you mentioned that somewhere along the line, something happened to your feet.
Well, this is in 1980 before all that happened. I mean,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
when I was teaching when I was in graduate school, I had right before I told you I was going to teach at the junior colleges. Like I taught at Orange Coast College, I taught at Chapman College. I taught at Garden Grove College. All these are under Santa Ana College, and all
Mhm.
these are, just like colleges that I either had a class on a weekend or a class somewhere else, or because just to pay my bills, I worked for the university at Cal State Fullerton in the police department. And that,
Mm.
you would never think I would do that, but I was, just trying to, make honest money, and I just
Yeah,
needed to
yeah.
pay for my tuition, and also for my new car, and but I was also taking like classes and teaching classes, and also being a part of a dance company that was a modern company. That's how
Mm.
I was supposed to perform um, a, a master's thesis for one of my teachers, and she had a performance outside, which the overcast really was too hot for the Marley floor that was black. Usually Marley is gray, but this Marley was black. So the sun was so hot on it that when we danced barefooted, my feet started getting blood
Mm.
blisters, and I
Yeah.
had solos in it, so I never stopped. Like I said, when I'm sick or whatever, I still just keep going. You know what I mean? I'm not one to like, oh,
Mm.
my feet are hurting. I just did it, and then when it was over, I just laid right on the ground, and they had to call the ambulance and
Wow.
take me to the hospital. That's the same day that Richard Pryor set himself on fire. So I was like,
Oh, wow.
yeah,
Oh,
same day. So I
what was
was
going wow.
well, he was doing drugs, but I
Yeah,
was
yeah, yeah, yes, yeah.
but, I was
Wow.
thinking, that this can't be it. I want, the doctors were saying it was all different colors, both feet. They had to wrap me up just like they did Richard, but he was wrapped all up, all his whole
Yeah.
body. But my
Mhm.
feet were just like all different colors. And they were like, you might consider not dancing anymore. And I was thinking, no, no, I really want to dance. This is my career, and I can't, stop now. I've been dancing since I was 3. And they're like, no, but yet I had to get skin grafts on my feet. So it was, just like really,
Wow.
like I didn't believe that, it was the end, but I was like going to do everything I could to just save my feet. So for 9 months, I was on crutches, and I was crawling on my
Wow.
knees, and, doing everything to just to not, give up on my dancing. So, and it helped because my feet did heal. And then
Mhm.
as I thought they were healed, I auditioned for, I think, Sweet Charity. That was at a junior college, and I got one of the leading roles. So I was like really excited about that because I hadn't been dancing for nine months,
Mhm.
but I've been saying affirmations for 9 months. So I knew that the will was there, but I just
Uh-huh.
hadn't been in class. So I just hoped that my spirit was going to get me the job. So I did it. I got the role, and then I started from there, just like nonstop. I just continued to make up for the time that I couldn't, because I
Mhm.
lived on the second floor too, and I couldn't go outside because I just couldn't go downstairs. I couldn't do anything because without your feet, you can't do anything.
Yeah, yeah.
And both were pretty bad. So after the 9 months, I just got my regular schedule back, and I started graduate school, and then I featured myself in the dance program, musical theater and dance. So that's when I changed from child psychology to musical theater, and that's when I had to take all kinds of classes. I had to take ballet and jazz and musical theater and modern. So I was back in the modern world again, but all of them helped me though to really just get my strength back
Wow.
to
Wow.
keep my thoughts on becoming a great dancer.
Yeah, yeah. The will to keep going,
The
just that
will to keep moving.
that thing. But something else is functioning too, in terms of
Yeah.
maybe a godmother's in there talking to
Oh
you.
yeah. I mean, I
Yeah,
really felt like everybody was on my side.
Yeah.
Don't you know? So I didn't want to disappoint them either because they invested a
Yeah.
lot of money and time in
Yeah.
me. So I never stopped, and I'm still that way today. I mean, really, I just whatever it is, I'm going to be there, and I'm just no one will ever know. You know what I mean? It's
Yeah. And
just
I guess that kind of experience too, the combination of those things really it reinforces what one needs to do to take care of oneself.
yes, because
And particularly as time goes on, like how to take care of the body and
yes,
to know what you can do, what you can't do. So
hmm
you still have the thing to go, but then there's this reality of let me do
smart,
this, let me not do that. Yeah. I'm
yes,
just assuming that that comes to play from
it
that
does.
experience. Yeah.
Mhm.
Um, Well, I have some images we can just look at that can
Okay.
trigger off and kind of reinforce some of what you've talked about and just see. Let's see. So this is a shot of you, just kind of like a fun shot
I was
that
singing in
I
the rain.
like. I like that. What were you saying?
It seems like singing in the rain to me a little bit.
Yeah, and I think that's why I chose it because it's got kind of got that feeling of singing in the rain. And
Mhm.
so this is you in action teaching, right?
Yeah, that's it. That steps right now.
Yeah,
Steps
um,
on Broadway.
yeah, Steps on Broadway. It's like I know at one point it was all the Steps, Heinz Hatchet was all these places for classes and stuff that
Yeah.
were around. But I love that with the hand up in the air and just like, let's do it.
Yeah.
And then this is a shot. I mean, you can barely see it, but it's you know, what do you call a
The
thing of
bios?
yeah,
Yeah.
your bio, of from
Yeah. From the
from my program,
wow, that's
of
amazing.
yeah, that oops, making it too big now. Let me get back to yeah. Um yes. Now is this cast
That's
from
yeah, that's from Broadway, the Broadway Black and Blue.
the
Yeah.
Broadway Black and Blue? And then
Mhm.
I understand the woman on the left is your dresser? Was
Yeah, she was our dresser. That was
yeah,
yeah.
backstage at
Mhm.
see what else.
And there we are. There I'm in
Now I
right
also interviewed Kevin
yeah,
Ramsey and I
yeah.
used this photo with him and that is that you to
That's
his
me
to
right
the
to his right, to his
yeah,
right.
to his right to the left. Yeah, that's a
We were right
lineup.
in the center, right in the center.
And for those you watching, this is a lineup from the Broadway show Black and Blue
That
that
rhythm band.
yeah, that's yeah, I
We
love that.
that was our
So
Tony. Oh, that's
here's
Eugene.
a yeah, I grabbed this from the clip from dancing. So who's he now?
That's Eugene Fleming. He's a great dancer too. He's
And
wonderful.
it's from this the
That's
thing
from
is on
Broadway.
YouTube and I was afraid to use it because it might get flagged, so I figured I'd grab a shot. It's
Oh, that
from
was
the Wednesday Night Hop. I think
yeah.
that's what this is
That's
from that
that's Frankie Manning's work,
and
and
Frankie Manning, the great swing dancer, that's a
yeah,
whole other thing.
we
But
love
I love that shot. What was that?
we love Frankie Manning. He was amazing, and we were also dancing like 4-inch shoes, right? So they were like really, back in the day in the 20s and 40s, they were dancing in low sneakers, like just flat shoes. We were like
Yeah.
dancing like that.
Wow, that's another shot I got from
Yeah.
and
Oh yeah.
I just like that.
That's
Like you're
Eugene.
ready.
Oh, because I told him I said I can help myself. When they had to pick us up, I was like, "Oh, I'm no trouble at all. I used the preparation and I
Mhm.
plie and just help them as much as I could." So we were good partners.
Wow.
Still calls me partner today, and that's the Rhythm Queens. That's the three
So
of us.
so that's the three. So it's you, is Rashamala in that? Is that
Marshmallow's in the center, Deborah's front,
and
and I'm the
Deborah Mitchell over
Deborah
there. Yeah.
Mitchell, my panel, Rashmella Combo, and then me. That's taken in Las Vegas. We're taking in Las Vegas at
Mm.
the Aladdin Theater, and
So this is
that's when we became two.
yeah, it was just you and Deborah Mitchell. See that and what's great about this interview, like I said before, I always thought it was only the two of you. So
Yeah,
now I
somebody
know the whole history of Rhythm Queens.
yeah,
And that's just you.
that's me. We because Deborah and we were working on a ship in Sweden, and every day we'll go from Sweden to Finland, from Finland to Sweden. We lose an hour, we gain an hour. We lose an hour, we gain an hour. But
Mm.
we were the top uh, performing artists on the ship. So it was
Oh
really our
wow.
yeah. It was a great place to be because we didn't, when you get a job on a ship, you have to clean, you have to do this and that. But Deborah and I, we only rehearsed. We rehearsed and we did our show. There were two
Mhm.
shows a night, and we had no days off. It was no days off, but we only had to be responsible for our work, and that was pretty good.
So what was well, that's something else. Wow.
Yeah, that's Cap Calloway and us. That was at his birth. We were in Rome at that point, where he
Wow.
was taking us to lunch. So, we went it was five-star restaurant, five-star hotels. He treated us the very best, really. It
Mr.
was
Heidi Heidi Ho.
yeah, he was like my father, actually. He was really always telling me, what I need to be doing, what I need to stop doing, what I need to do.
Mm,
He was so, just supportive and just caring. He cared a lot about
really?
it. Yeah.
Wow.
And that's when we performed for the Queen of England.
What was that about? Queen of
That
England.
Yeah, that was we had a manager. We had 2 managers here, one in New York and one in England, and he was a
So this
very
is
good.
this is you and Deborah, just the two of you now? Is
No, it was the
really?
3 of us.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, there was 3 of us, and,
Okay.
the manager that we had in London, scheduled a performance for us to do Lady Ratling's ball, and it was like one of her balls that she gives tea to her favorite friends, and they get all dressed up, and they come to a big, beautiful, venue, and then, she has dancers come and sing and dance, and we were part of there was one singer, a lady singer, and then it was the rhythm queen, so we were the entire entertainment for the evening. And she loves tap, so they were beating on their glass. They were, bloody hell, bloody, she was so excited. But she had also like waxed up the floor. The floor was so slippery. I just knew that that was the end of my life when we danced so fast, and that we were in, like, again, 5-inch, 4-inch heels. We looked nice, but it was really scary to go out there and just do all the turns and the kicks and the claps and the, talking with one another while we were out there dancing. But we managed to get through. I was just so grateful. It was, I was like, this is, she said, doesn't look nice. We didn't actually talk to her, but, she was so proud to have us. All her little friends, they were beating the glass and talking to one another. So we knew that they enjoyed it. And that's the Henrietta Tang and the 2 Germaines.
I
That's
know. Another Germaine, right?
yeah, when
So
we were like sisters too. This was
so
Henry Germaine
Jermaine
Salisbury. Yeah,
Salzburg
yeah,
and Henry Latang in the middle, who we were
yeah.
talking about earlier. Go ahead.
And, Henry was given a master class that day, and we always supported Henry. So whatever he did,
This in
we
New York?
yes, it was at
Okay.
the Broadway Dance Center, and Avi Miller and Ofer Ben used to give these master classes like every
Right.
3 or 4 months. So Henry's turn came up, and then we got T-shirts as a result of that. And you know, um, that particular day, Henry was like so excited to just be back in the studio with all kinds of because
Ah,
his name brought out so many people, so they all
yeah.
wanted to wear a T-shirt that had his name on it. So we're happy to be together that day.
Yeah, I never studied with him. I understood he had like a whole system. It's like a
Oh, we did. I
you
never
went from one thing to another. Because when I auditioned for the Cotton Club movie, it
yeah,
was at the same time my One and Only was on Broadway, and at that point, I wasn't tapping that much. So all the guys that were auditioning other than me had been in my One and Only and knew Henry the Tank Stank because Henry was running the audition. So they
yeah,
knew the routines. I was just trying to hold on for good,
yeah.
good life. But,
But him, yeah, with that, I never took any of his classes. He hired me on
mm,
my own feet, you know what I mean? Because
mm,
Rashmel used to say, "Do you want to learn Samson and Delight?" I said, "Not really." I just wanted to work. I didn't
mm,
have time to take classes with him, but I know that whatever he gave me, I could probably do. So
mm,
I was lucky because a lot of his work is like the same. I have the same isms. Like he'll start on the same foot. When he's
mhm,
choreographing, he'll do the same double take on the right foot, whereas the left foot would only do one, dun, dun, boom, bop. He was
mm.
really like that, and I teach like that as well. So the weight changes that he does, I am a lot like that. When people take my class, they're like,
Ah,
those weight changes are crazy, but that's because I was inspired by him, but I didn't know it at the time. I mean, I was
that's
in
interesting.
California, you know what I mean? So now I see where it comes from. That's what I'd like doing, just,
Yeah.
and that's from Play On. That's from
Now
another
tell us
Broadway.
tell us about Play On. Was that
Play On,
Mercedes
yeah,
Ellington?
Mercedes Ellington choreographed it. It was all the music from Duke Ellington's repertoire that she really enjoyed
Mhm.
choreographing too. And it was a very, very good show. The great cast. but the only thing is that it didn't last that long because they didn't advertise it that much, and people didn't know we were there. We rehearsed longer than we actually were on Broadway. You know,
Because
it was
I remember kinda knowing about it, but I
yeah,
never was clear about it, and then suddenly it was
it was
gone, like,
and the
'cause
thing is that the musical The Life was right across the street from us, but
mhm,
most people just weren't there. You know, they didn't know that Play On was, right very
mm,
close, by. So even though we had the best cast, it was, just a shame that they had to close it so soon. But I enjoyed just being I was a swing for that show, and I swung for
mm,
all 7 people, and every day I was on, people thought that was my show. I was like, "Not really. I'm doing this for this person. I'm doing." And
mm,
every Mercedes choreography, you had to it's not like everybody's doing the same thing. She has this vision that, you peak on 2, you peak on 6, you peak on 4. So even when the show was over, I was still peaking. I was like, oh, I was like still living in the
now
world.
now, what does it mean we say peaking?
Like if
Peak
like say if you're like if she gave a step and everybody would do like 8 counts, like there would be 2, 4, 6, 8. Like she would do
yeah.
like a person to do 2, peak on 2, whatever that pose was. Another person would have 4, 6, 8,
Oh, I see, kinda hit a little okay.
like a little like a what is those things called? Like a you're just, rotating from one foot, one
Yeah,
person to the
yeah,
next.
yeah, I
So,
got you.
a lot of people were doing different things, and you had to remember what their blocking was and everything. When you get a normal or other like circumstances, everyone's doing the same, so you don't have to think so much. But
Ah,
working in that show taught me that I can really do anything. And also in that show, I fell into the pit because it was a blackout, and I was in the center of the stage with my back facing the audience, and they blacked it out, and I overreached. They didn't have anything to block you from falling off the stage at that time.
oh,
So I did a my pose, and then I stepped back, and then I fell back into the orchestra pit. So they were like, all the audience was like, "Oh my god," and I didn't say anything. Most people would have been like, "Ah," and screaming, but I just, I said, "Oh, Camille fell. She's gonna walk right around the back and just get back in another costume and keep doing the show." So, like I said, nothing really disturbs me when I'm
show must go on.
at a show. Definitely, they said you have 7 minutes. I was like, okay. And I
Now
was
what
back into another costume. They didn't know which one fell. They were like, they're looking around. They're like, I can't tell. I was like, mhm, you
now
know.
what show was this? What was I found this on
Oh,
your
that's
one of your websites.
that's Kiss Me Kate. Um,
Ah,
yeah, down in Georgia for the Georgia festival, Georgia festival.
okay.
I was an assistant choreographer, and I was also the understudy for Kate. So I was Bianca as well. So I really enjoyed that show as
Now
well.
this is around about when?
At
W
From
This
December, actually, it was
what
a
year?
oh, that was like in 19. Let's see, it was after
Like
Broadway.
relevant to Black and Blue and
Yeah,
everything.
I would say that it was 93, 94. Yeah, around 93 or 94,
Mm,
I think.
alright.
Like maybe it was like, yeah, I would say it was like the late 90s. Yeah.
Mm.
And that was Savion.
Yeah,
I
Savion.
don't know when he was a baby, and then now he's taller than I am. He's like,
I know, and his kid's probably taller than you.
yeah.
You
How
know?
did you get to be so tall? And he was like, I don't know, Jermaine. So I guess,
I remember when Cookie first talked about, "There's this kid that could do any step you show him." I remember
yeah,
we first started hearing about this wonderkind, this kid, you know?
yep. And I had seen Savion when he was doing the tap dance kid, you know what I mean? Because his mom used to bring the kids to to Broadway Dance Center, on the weekends and stuff.
Mm,
So I seen him, but like I really don't get struck. You know what I mean? Brooke
mhm,
Shields was there and Brittany was there. It was so many people that came to the original Broadway Dance Center that, I
mm.
just thought he was a regular kid, and he had two other brothers. So, and I had, like
Yeah,
four other siblings. So it's just like I didn't really make a big deal. But
yeah.
then when I saw him actually be serious about those feet, I was thinking, this is like a little genius. You know what I mean? I just knew that
Mm.
he was a special kid. So,
Yeah.
I support him, whatever he's doing, I still go to see him.
Yeah, I think he's got something coming on Broadway. I think Pal
Yeah,
Joey or something he's gonna be choreographing, I
yeah.
heard. Yeah.
So
So,
I support him. And then we were doing a film, Deborah and I we managed to
now this is you with Deborah Mitchell not
make
too long ago then, right?
that was just 2018. So
What was this for?
it's called the Uprooted film, The Journey of the Jazz Dance. So
Oh, I haven't seen that. Okay.
yeah, it's very, very wonderful. It's a film that really goes back to the roots of jazz dancing, which involves tap dancing as well. And all the entrepreneurs that created jazz dance were in it. Like I work personally with Matt Maddox and also with Frank Hatchett, and there's so many.
Mac Maddox was the teacher, choreographer? I'm not familiar with.
Yeah, he
Okay.
choreographed a lot of things, but he was also the one of the inspirations, like Luigi, choreographed a jazz style. Matt Maddox
Mm,
had his own jazz style. So, but he was living in Paris, and that's also when we were in Paris doing Black and Blue. I used to take his classes, but Matt Maddox is like one of my heroes because he was a phenomenal dancer, but he was also very strict about how he wanted his work to be presented. So,
mm.
I just was really glad that I got a chance to work with him. I got a chance to come to Paris, and then he took my class as an old man, and I was teaching. So it was like,
Oh, wow.
yeah, it was like a
Circling
reverse.
around.
I was like,
Yeah,
"Oh,
yeah.
you used to teach us, and now you're taking my class." He was like, "You never know where you're going to end up, so never say never." You know what I mean? It's just
And that's
some
the thing about the art form, you can always learn and it goes back and forth,
yes,
generation in either direction, It's
yeah.
really
It,
the
it
gift of
just like the Nicholas brothers too. Deborah and I work with the Nicholas brothers in both ways. Like we did off Broadway with back in the big time with Harold Nicholas, and
mhm.
then we did Broadway with when he choreographed for Black and Blue for the guys.
Well,
So
fair, yeah.
Bayard, yeah.
Yeah.
So it's
Wow.
just like our we worked around great, great, great artists, and we're
Yeah.
so honored to do that. And I'm just so happy that I was in the right place at the right time and made choices that I just would hope will benefit me forever. So, and that's when we
And
went to see Donna Summers show, Deborah and I.
oh.
Yeah,
Oh, wow.
we went to see
Wow.
Donna Summers on Broadway summer, and we try to just share things when we're not working. We also share things that we like to share together. So that was a fun evening too.
Yeah. So I want to show just a short clip. I did
Okay.
it in slow motion
Oh,
just
okay.
to kind of avoid any possible problems, but just to see just a little bit of you in action from
Oh,
Black and
black and blue. Oh, there.
Blue.
I was picking my legs up. I tell my students now, pick your feet up. They don't do
And
that.
this is from that Wednesday night hop thing,
Wednesday
right?
night. Yep.
I love it.
I'm so glad you saw that. We saw it in person, but just to have it on.
Yeah.
See, I'm
Yeah,
grateful
so
for that.
that's,
Thank you, Hank. Thank you so much.
yeah, no, because I wanted to show something, and then, when you do this, some things get flagged, if
Yeah,
it's music or whatever, so I figure, well, if I just do it without
little
sound
bit.
and slow up just to get a little bit and I was really getting into it, just that, you
Oh,
know, that,
that's good. That brings
that
back
whole
happy memories for me, though. Those pictures.
wow, wow,
Thank
and you got to because it was Frank was 4
you.
choreographers? It was Frankie,
Yeah, there's
Fayard, who were the other 2?
um, Charlie Atkins.
Charlie, of course.
Sure, the Temptations,
Yeah, yeah, it's all of that, so, so in terms of
and then Henry.
your teaching now and in terms of stuff you're doing now, like, how do you feel about, um, the
I'm
world
very
of performing now and your place in it? Because there's so much that you have to offer and there's so
present.
much that you embody
Yeah.
and,
Well, the thing is, I'm very present in my classes. Like most
mm,
people, and I watch other people, teach, but I dance with my students, each group, all the time because I want them to know that if I ask you to do something, it means that I can still do it, instead of
mm,
showing you. I um I really give a lot of corrections. This generation is not so uh big on corrections for one. They just like to do whatever they want to do. But I'm from
mhm,
old school, so I make them, try to just listen to what I'm telling them. Or either I tell them that they're not going to work. I'm so honest that they're scared to to ask me anything, because I'm like, no, that's not going to get. I said they don't hire a good right foot; they hire a whole pair. So you have to have
Mhm.
really good right side and left side feet. So technique means a lot to me. I'm very technical, and I'm also I would say very clean. You know what I mean? A lot of people are very just like, yeah. For me, I'm very specific about what I like to present, and I want them to emulate that. So because if we don't do it now, they'll never do it. You know what I mean? I just feel like when they get a show and they're tired, they have to push through that. And I said, if you build yourself up in class, when you get to a performance, you can always pull through. That's what I
Mhm.
believe, and it worked for me. And I just tell them that they need to stay in class, excuse me, and they need to also just enjoy it. It's not like just doing steps. It comes from the heart. It's
Mhm.
just really being able to share what you can give from what's been given to you. So that's how I do all my classes. I teach
Mm.
4 classes on Monday and Wednesday, and they're back to back. It's a long day, but by the end of the day, I'm staring at things. I'm like, I can't. It's just been a long day. But when I'm
Yeah.
there, I am physically on target on everything that I asked them to do, and when I choreograph, I want them to be their best. So.
As of course, you might be generalizing, but what sense do you have that a lot of these students have about any of the history
They don't know the
surrounding
history.
the
They don't.
art form, even beyond tap, just in terms of performance and whatever? What's their
Very little. They don't like
mm,
to research. They like to do well, excuse me. I know some people really like to do just tradition. So they only like to do what they already know,
mm,
more and more. I'm not really that way. I like to do it every now and then,
mhm,
visit back then, but I live in today. I live in the moment. So
mhm,
for me, the difference between, I think, myself and my dance partner, she likes the tradition, but she also likes the new stuff too. For
mhm,
me, I like the new stuff more, even
mm,
though I give credit, because I wouldn't be who I am without the old stuff,
yeah,
or
yeah,
from old school. So for me, I like to use what they've inspired me to do and create new stuff. That's what I live to do.
mm,
But I think, without them, there will be no me. So I
yeah, yeah,
wear tall, like shoes. So I never forget where it came from. But I ask my students things, they don't know where things came from. And in
mm,
this day and time, they don't want to hear where it came from. They just want
mm.
to be a star. And I never wanted to be a star. I only wanted to be a great dancer. I didn't want to be the stardom and all that. I'm not.
And being a star is a thing different from being an actor or actress or
Yeah.
performer.
Well, they're
That's a different energy. That's a different kind of thing to go for as
yeah.
opposed to being good at something. Sometimes they can go together, but most of the time,
Most of the time
it's a
they don't.
different. Yeah.
You're never like, when I look at stars, they all have trouble. You know what I mean? They're all mentally, something's wrong with them. So, I just look at it to be like, if they can just be themselves and do the same thing, then they probably wouldn't be stressed so much.
Because
You
also the thing about the star is that there's a star, then that star fades.
Right.
Another star, it fades.
Yeah,
But if
see,
you're a performer and if you're good, then there's
continuous.
something on long lasting. I'm
Yeah,
always talking about the long, because the excellent, the best, this, that, whatever. There's always going to be another one. There's always
always.
going to be, and it's a fickle thing.
It is a fickle
It's
thing.
the business is really fickle. It's really whatever. So if you have this thing that keeps you busy, keeps you good, and and like you say, because of that thing, the star thing, like you say, some people get messed up because when
Very
it's
good.
gone, they go, well, who am I?
Right, they don't
What
know.
what's who are my people? Oh, they're only talking to me because
Yeah, see,
the
so
things that. But what now? Who's talking to me?
that's the truth, and
And
I'm
we've
very
seen
honest about that. I
it.
see it every day. I see it, and I'm thinking, I never want that. You know what I mean? I just,
Yeah.
you know, but I'm grateful that I can still do. Like I tell them, I tell my students how old I'm. They're like, "What?" They can't believe. I was like, "No, because I've been doing the same thing." Like like one of my students told me the other day. She's like, "You always have a big backpack," and I said, "It's always tap shoes. My it's always things in there that I need." No, but I never seen him without a big backpack. And I told her that that's just who I guess that's my legacy of just having a big backpack going to my
It's like the plumber has their toolkit, the doctor has his valise or whatever.
yeah,
This
we have
is this is my stuff. This is my gear. This is my
this is weird.
that's
And I'm running down
interesting.
the street. They're like, and the doorman was like, I never see you, just take your time. I said, I'm always going somewhere, really. I'm just always somewhere. So
Wow.
I'm glad I still
Well,
can.
I mean, I think this is the thing that some of us are lucky that we found this thing we care about. But also, what I appreciate about talking with you too is, I've done a lot of different things. The idea of having a broad kind of background when it comes to performing, so that if you're doing tap, you know about other stuff. So you're not just relying on this one thing, but also you get to appreciate the full package.
Mhm.
So then when you're passing it on to somebody else, it's this thing about the full package, but it keeps you vibrant at this stage of the game, you
Yeah.
know. I'm 39 years old. I don't know about you, but
I
you
don't
know, you
want
know.
to. I
But
remember.
that's the thing for young people to realize. I try and stay in touch with young people too, because I learn from them, but also to create a role model to like aim. Because we knew, Buster Brown, Marion Coles, these
All the
Mabel Lee.
Mabel.
Day before she passed, she was still talking about her costume.
See?
And the
Yeah,
next thing, you know,
we
just
work
just
with Mabel.
we have these role models about,
And, I just appreciate them. I do. I appreciate all of
yeah,
them because all of them makes us. We
yeah,
have to bring
yeah,
ours too because we can't just like be given things and not give them back. You know what I mean?
yeah.
I believe that we should pass them. So
Well, this has been great, Germaine. This
this has
is
been
really,
wonderful, Hank.
I
Thank
mean, this is one reason I like doing this is just in many ways it's selfish because I get something out of like just finding out about things
you.
with people, but also it's just really getting to know you a lot better. It's like after all these years, okay, yes,
You know,
this is
I'm very grateful.
a great moment. And I know how much Deborah Mitchell means to you, just in
Yeah,
terms of
she's my
the
sister.
the friendship the two of you have had through thick and thin, and just
38
this business
years.
and stuff. What's that?
38 years
Wow,
of
38 years.
sisterhood, partnership.
Sisterhood, yeah, partnership, and
You know?
the thing is, that's what it is.
Yeah,
The friends, the connection, all as corny as it sounds,
it's true though.
it's what it boils down to. But then it gives you like I feel I talk about attraction in people. And sometimes there's an inner thing, and
Mhm.
that's because that person has people. Anytime I perform, I do a lot of solo stuff, but I never feel alone
No,
because in me, there's Cookie, there's Marion Cole, there's
every
whatever.
spirit is right.
It's all there, and we were given something that was entrusted in us, as you're talking about. So
Yeah,
it's like the
to
mantle.
give back.
Well,
Um,
anyway, thank you for what you trying to
thank
say something.
No, I mean, I'm grateful to be here and just so more people can know that I am myself as well as I'm a part of something. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
I
yeah,
just I'm grateful that I am continuing to be my best and to just offer what I can to help someone get to where I am or and further.
yeah, yeah,
It's
yeah.
just that. So thank you for the opportunity.
Well, thank you, and
Thank
thank you all for watching. And as I always say, take care of yourself and peace.
Yeah, peace out. Thank you. I would like to send a special thank you to my best friend, Vibeke Dalla Del Pola. Thank you so much, Vibeke, for all the years that we've been best friends, for you letting me be your son's godmother, and also all the things that you've been supportive in my tap dancing career, being my student for one, just letting me work with you. And we went to teach at the performing arts camps for the last 3 years for Spot On Entertainment, and all the just fun things that we share every holiday together as family. The family in Jersey is always where I spend most of my time when I'm not tap dancing. So I treasure those moments and I never forget the journey that we share together. So I wanted to say thank you so very much. And I really appreciate everything. I'm very grateful. Thank you.